How is your brother?
Asleep since I returned from the Dominion. Taya says he should be back on his feet soon enough. For a while, at least. She discovered something on his chest. A swelling, circled in stone.
The curse. For every mountain we climb, another rises up to greet us, doesn't it?
It's never ending. Even the sky seems to have grown tired of it all. Taya won't be happy if I disturb Joshua. While he rests, I might as well see what Otto has to say. What could be wrong with Torgor? He seemed well enough when I last saw him. Trouble with the ledgers. Shouldn't he be asking Otto for help? Did you see the pair that got hauled into tires?
Aye, all their fancy silk stained red.
Will we ever see the sun again?
They said they'd give us new clothes.
Did you see that? Tell me you saw that.
There's talk of these skies driving me
Making them
mad.
skies then.
Otto, how fares the realm?
The realm? Oh, she's just fine. As long as you look past the fat storms out mother crystals and her skies are a roiling cesspit.
And Gav?
He's with your uncle in the Free Cities, helping Mid with her project. Sent an owl their way the moment the winds turned foul. Still waiting on a reply, though.
Do you have any good news?
Well, that depends on your definition of good.
All right, fine. What do you suggest we do?
Oh, no, I'm just a messenger. I leave the scheming to those more suited to the task. Could be that Lady Vivian and Old Tomes have their own thoughts on the current state of things. Could be that they don't. It certainly can't hurt to ask.
I suppose not.
How
How is it that every one of your little excursions presages some inexplicable catastrophe? Not that you are to blame for the Dominion's fate. No one could have predicted the actions of the Crown Prince.
I'm sorry I couldn't save your home.
My countrymen are stronger than you think. A few toppled clock towers won't break their spirits. They'll be back on their feet in no time.
I hope so.
Look at us. Bluer than a pair of bog crabs. Tempting though it may be, sulking will not help us find a solution to this mess.
You believe there's one to be found?
I don't know. But I am certain we're more likely to find it if we first examine the facts.
Beneath these darkened skies, fear and confusion reign over Valisthea. Oh, the lands around the fallen Mother Crystals had already begun to wilt for want of ether. But not like this. Crystals that filled wells and fueled furnaces. Now nothing but pretty shards of rock. And those that hang from the people's necks cast nary a glimmer of light to keep the dark at bay. It is only a matter of time before the common folk convince themselves that the end of days is upon us. Yet I fear a swift end is more than we can hope for. While most of the world thirsts for ether, the remainder drowns in it, spawning Akashic in droves. And amidst the hordes of mindless beasts, with magics as like to fail as function, even the strongest nation would falter. Rosaria and the Iron Kingdom teeter on the brink of collapse, while the tragedy in Twinside has all but paralyzed the Holy Empire. Dhalmekia fares little better. Rumor has it the ministers fled the capital after the fall of Drake's Fang, leaving their beloved republic to crumble. Waloed, meanwhile, moves in earnest. The Einherjar has been sighted off-storm. The world, in short, is in chaos. It would seem our civilization was nothing but a castle of sand, to be washed away at the whim of the waves.
A castle of sand.
Not my best flourish, but it seemed fitting. The reports I've received are considerably more blunt in their appraisal. Without the protection of their nations, it will fall to the people to defend themselves against those who would take what is theirs.
Which is only ever going to end one way.
Defending a farmhouse against a band of chocobo thieves is one thing, but pitchforks and palisades will do little to stall an army's advance. Should the King of Waloed deign to invade, there would be none to stop him.
None but us.
Is a storm coming, Sid? Will there be thunder?
Let me guess. You're here about the skies.
Is there anything you don't know, Lawsman?
It doesn't take a court astrologer to augur the obvious. As for what has disturbed the heavens, that, I believe, is a question the Fallen might be better placed to answer than I. And on the 6th day, did the gods tear the sun from the firmament, visiting darkness upon their prideful sons and daughters. But I dare say you remember your childhood lessons on the sins of Zemeckis only too well.
You think they're connected? That Ultima was one of the gods responsible?
Well, he has certainly exhibited powers that we mortals would associate with the divine.
There is nothing divine about him.
But he wouldn't be the first god of whom that could be said, now would he? Yet for all the fairy tales that tell of the sins, there is almost nothing in the way of actual historical accounts. Had I the Journal of Moss the Chronicler, I may have been able to tell you more, but alas, I fear all remaining copies have been lost to time. You will forgive me, I hope?
Certainly not. Because there is nothing to forgive. Even without this journal, you've provided us ample wisdom. And we will always be grateful for it. Perhaps Otto will be more inclined to share his thoughts when he hears what the others had to say.
They said they'd give us new clothes.
Clive, we have a problem.
Only one. That would be a first.
It would. Actually, there are three. We had as many owls arrive while you were at the shelves. Martha's got a cashier at her gates, and talk of monsters roaming the hills outside of Northreach has put the wind up Isabel and her lot.
And don't forget Dalimil. Lubor says the village was raided by bandits.
When it rains...
It fucking pours. The curse breakers are spread thin, taking stock of the damage in the Dominion. And even if I could get word to all of them, I doubt they'd get here in time to make any real difference. Which means there's only two people who can.
Jill and I.
Let them know we're on our way.
Clive, did you get my letter?
That's why I'm here.
Shh. Otto won't be listening.
Is this better?
A little. Listen, I've some bad news. It turns out the hideaway may be slightly behind in its payment to certain lenders, and it may be my fault. But I swear to the goddess, I thought I had the numbers square. Sadly, that square turned out to be more of a circle. Zero, you might say. I can straighten it out, I swear, but it's gonna take some time, and I'm gonna need help keeping it from Otto.
Bit late for that, I'd say.
There you are! What a surprise!
So let me get this straight. You forget to pay our lenders what they're due, and instead of coming straight to me, you get Clive to come to you. And I hope he'll dig you out of the hole you've dug for yourself. Clive, the man in charge of the place you've been cheerfully trying to bankrupt. And you thought this was a cunning plan. Why? Well, who needs paying?
Oh, just Martha. And the dame. And, well, Lady Karen. But only 500 talents.
We owe three of our most trusted friends 5 million gil.
Each. 5 million each. They lent us the bulk of the money we used to rebuild the hideaway, you see, and, well, I must have made some sort of oversight.
Those ledgers were my responsibility, and it was my decision to entrust them to you. This is my fault.
Do we have that much to hand? I can always ask my uncle.
No, we don't. And no, you won't. We've lightened Lord Rosfield's purse enough. After the king's ransom we had off him, he deserves better than to see our begging bowl. Besides, we'll need to learn to stand on our own if we're gonna make this work.
All right. But that doesn't mean you have to shoulder the burden yourself. Is there anything I can do to help?
There might be. How'd you fancy taking these to Martha and the dame?
Rocks.
Rocks, he says. Worth 1,000 talents apiece, these are. Little something Sid and I set aside for when times got lean. And I reckon 15 million in overdue debt probably qualifies. I just hope our associates' eyes are a bit more discerning than yours.
I'm sure they will be.
Should be me making the rounds, really. But you know how it is with this place. Orders to bark, arses to wipe and all that.
I know. Which is why I don't mind going in your place.
Go. Do you know why I only gave Master Clive here 2 star rubies?
Because you'd rather Lady Karen killed me.
Because I'd rather Lady Karen killed you. Yes.
Well, I suppose this is goodbye then.
Don't worry. I'm sure Karen will understand.
Really? Do you think so?
No, I don't.
Are we even safe here?
Did you see that? Tell me you saw that.
Damn blighted bilge.
Is everything all right?
Aside from the holes in my hull, everything's roses.
The lake water doesn't agree with it, then?
That's one way of putting it. And unless you got some grand scheme to suck the black from the lake like we do in the atrium, that slurry will keep eating away at the timber like young Tech does our lemon tarts. Suppose a coat of pitch might stave off the rot for a moon or so, assuming we had any pitch, which we don't. Not any bloody more. Doubt the old tub's got more than a dozen runs left in him.
Of course, Obolus. Your skiff is our only means of reaching the mainland. Without it, we'd be lost.
Well, I'm glad someone round here sees it that way. To make pitch, you need pitch trees. But in case you haven't noticed, live trees are one of the 1,000 things sorely lacking in the Deadlands. Now, I'm not so unkind as to ask you to fell a faraway forest and lug the logs back here to the mere, which is why we'll be needing a suitable alternative. And it just so happens I once heard the thorny pitchers of Curltail Falls cover themselves in a sticky wax to trap birds and beetles and whatnot. Might be enough to tide me over.
Sounds easier than felling a faraway forest. That's for certain.
Good day to you. Sid.
If we've no crystals to keep the catch cold,
The markets in Northreach are as bare as a newborn's arse. You won't be finding any weapons there.
Time to fight. Griffins don't exactly make for easy prey. Let's hope our craftsman hasn't bitten off more than he can chew. We'll have to wait. Something there, boy? Could that be our man? Are you all right?
Dare say I'll survive. That griffin caught me before I could get an arrow off. Must have lost sight of me in the grass, though. I'd be dead if it hadn't.
More likely than not.
The name's Camille. I'm a lowly leather worker, if you couldn't tell by the smell of me.
Not so lowly from what I hear. Do you remember selling to a merchant by the name of Karen?
She's not an easy woman to forget. Bought a cuirass from me after I lost my buyer. Quite taken with my work, as far as I recall. Didn't stop her bartering me down to a pittance, though. She sent you for a refund?
It's not her who sent me.
Well, consider me flattered.
You should be. He's a master of his art, and not an easy man to impress.
Blacksmiths are proud folk. It's a rare thing indeed for one to praise a glorified tanner. And I don't imagine an impressive swordsman like yourself would be getting your steel from any but the best. I'd dearly love to help a fellow craftsman, but... well, actually, I suppose you could give him this.
What is it?
Treated leather. Same stuff I used to make that cuirass. If your man's as skilled as he sounds, he'll know what he's looking at.
You sure?
Well, you did save my life. And thanks to you, I'll be going home with all the griffin hide I can carry. I'd say it's the least I can do. Short of showing him how to make the thing myself, that is. But there are rules against it. Secrets of the trade and whatnot.
In that case, I'll see that he gets it.
I'd be much obliged if you would. Right. I've got some greaves to make. You send your blacksmith my regards.
Will do. And thank you. Hopefully this will sweeten Blackthorn's mood.
And with a bit of luck, Clive might even find the geezer. How'd it go, Clive? Did you find him, or does the hunt continue?
I found him. And he asked me to give you this, along with his regards.
You're joking.
He said he wouldn't teach you how to work it, but that if you were as skilled as you sounded, you'd have no trouble understanding how it was done.
So that's his secret. Crafty bastard. He's layered and cross-grained it. Good few times, too. No wonder it's tough. And that's no ordinary oil he's used to get that finish. Oh, this is fine work. Even finer than I thought.
Yeah? I'll take your word for it. Just looks like leather to me. Still, I'm glad you're happy. Here, Clive. You didn't happen to catch the fella's name, did you?
Camille, I believe.
I thought as much. There ain't many leather workers in the realm daft enough to do their own hunting, see? And his name kept cropping up when I was asking around. Turns out he's from Tabor. And again, most leather workers are. But our friend Camille guards a long-held family secret, the details of which are the subject of some debate in the leather-working community.
Then we better keep this close to our chests.
Listen, sorry for putting the both of you to all that trouble. Should have kept my moaning to myself. Still, I'm glad you found him. This has cheered me right up.
That was the idea. Clive's idea, anyway. He did most of the work.
It's good to have you back, Blackthorn.
Just don't expect me to go turning out work like this. There's a reason he does his own hunting. He knows exactly what hides to look for. And that's how he gets them to layer up so nicely. And don't get me started on how much oiling this leather would need. But I reckon I can make something about as good. Something a curse breaker will have no trouble caring for. Anyway, enough nattering. I've got work to be getting on with.
Looks like we won't be needing a new blacksmith.
As if there was a better one out there. It wouldn't have been the same anyway. No one spins a yarn like old Blackthorn in his cups. Right, now that's sorted, I've got duties to attend to. Thanks, Clive. You've given me my mate back.
What do I owe the honor? What do you want? And?
I got your note. You think something's wrong with Torgal?
So you can read. Congratulations. But I didn't say I were wrong with him. I said something weren't right. He's not been eating me treats. He used to love cracking the bones from Molly's boiled brown, but now he won't so much as look at him. Didn't like him. Which is why I'm of a mind that his mind's on something else. You've not been working him too hard, have you?
No harder than usual. Is that it, boy? Do you need a rest?
What was it you said he was? A frost wolf?
That's what the lawsman seems to think.
Then maybe this all has something to do with whatever it is that's woken inside him.
I suppose things have been different since Rosalith. Perhaps Hippocrates knows something.
Instead of everything, you mean? Perhaps.
It seems the hideaway has lost its appetite.
Is a storm coming, Sid? Will there be thunder?
Lawsman, I need to ask you about Torgal. Something's not right with him.
He isn't ill, is he?
I don't think so. But according to Lady Karen, he seems to have lost his appetite, which is certainly a new development. She says he's hardly been touching his bones of late, and she believes it may have something to do with what happened at Rosalith Castle.
I rather think she might be right, though not about his appetite. All canids are instinctively inclined to crack open bones for the rich marrow that resides within, and I see no reason why a frost wolf should be any different. Accordingly, I suspect it is not a lack of appetite that afflicts Torgal, but a surfeit of it. If we assume that his newfound magics require additional nourishment to sustain, it may well be that the bones Lady Karen is accustomed to providing are no longer sufficient. Frost wolves, after all, habitually prey upon far larger animals, whose bones may yield altogether different nutrients. As to where one might find a suitable substitute, some antelopes that graze the meadows of eastern Rosaria have been known to grow to a size more than double that of their lesser cousins.
I don't recall ever seeing any that large.
And little wonder. The oldest and largest such creatures rarely leave the safety of the highlands for fear of predators. The last elder antelope sighting I recall hearing about took place near Cressida, and that was long before the village was abandoned.
Even so, it seems like a good place to start.
Good hunting, Clive.
Just patch me up as quick as you can and get me back out there.
it's certainly quiet. If I were a giant antelope, it would seem like just the place. I doubt we'll find one bigger than that. Hungry, Torgal? Torgal, kill! Now, will it be enough, I wonder? I say that answers my question, which means we owe the lawsmen our thanks. You're just a big puppy, aren't you? A very big puppy. You do know you can take that with you, Torgal. Lady Karen will be relieved to hear you've got your appetite back. Come on, boy.
You don't think they've abandoned us, do you?
Them not. Not a chance.
Scorpions. At least I know what I'm up against.
Over here! Get him! It's over.
I better get this back to Yvonne before it goes bad.
Seems the hideaway's lost its appetite.
Did you find our mystery ingredient?
I did indeed.
Marvellous! Let's see. What am I supposed to do with this? It's poisonous, surely.
You wouldn't be wrong. But that's your unwanted violet.
Into the pot it goes, I suppose. Wait here. I won't be long. I present Chance's Stew, risen once again from the ashes of obscurity. Grab a spoon, Sid. Let's eat while it's hot.
I'm, not hungry.
Well, it'll be too late once I've licked the bowl clean. Your loss. Odin's teeth. What an assault on the senses. It's like choking on swamp water. And yet, up through the pungency, there rise complex, meaty notes. It takes a moment to recover from such an onslaught of flavours, but never have I tasted anything so fine. Thank you, Sid. Thank you.
You're, welcome.
I must share this gift. I won't rest until a steaming bowl of Chance's stew sits before everyone in the hideaway. A single mouthful, and Molly will be breeding scorpions of her own.
I'm sure she will.
I noticed you and Torgal had gone off somewhere. Take him for a walk, did you?
You could say that.
So, Molly's leftovers weren't good enough, eh? That'll teach me for treating you like you're still a pup. All right, no need to shout. Now we know what you're after, I can see about getting some in.
Speaking of which, I brought one for later. Can I leave it with you?
You can, aye. I'm nice like that. In return, you can thank Tomes for me. The bloody know-it-all.
I was just on my way to see him.
It seems the hideaway has lost its appetite.
Is a storm coming, Sid? Will there be thunder?
Ah, Clive. Were you able to locate your quarry?
We were indeed, Lawsman. You pointed us in exactly the right direction. And Torgal's been a very happy hound ever since.
Very good, very good.
Lady Karen sends her thanks, by the way, for your part in solving the mystery.
Ah. But that reminds me. After your last visit, I found myself pondering Torgal's talents. Do you recall our conversation concerning Lady Jill's role in Torgal's transformation?
About how she somehow woke the power within him.
Precisely that. A reasonable conclusion, I thought, but one which raised certain questions in my mind. You see, the Fenrir of legend served Shiva and Shiva alone, and while the powers attributed to him are certainly impressive, the records imply they are somewhat different in nature to those you described Torgal as having used.
What are you suggesting?
That Torgal may be the beneficiary of more than one icon's power. Consider that in addition to Lady Jill, he has served as a loyal companion to you, your brother, and even the late Sid. In short, the icons hitherto near at hand, or should I say at paw, have been diverse and plenty, and that number has only grown as the realm's dominance have fallen to your sword. One can but speculate as to how all of this has affected Torgal.
He has seemed more fierce of late.
And if I am not mistaken, he will grow fiercer still. We are fortunate indeed to be able to count him amongst our allies and not our adversaries.
Oh, he's more than an ally. He's a friend. was easy enough to find. Now for those herbs. This is the only plant around here with blue flowers. I hope it's the right one. Should be enough to keep the infirmary stocked for a while.
I hope you didn't have too much trouble finding the ammonia.
Only the usual.
Oh, yes. This is it. And more than I was expecting. I dare say the patient won't feel a thing. That is, unless I...
You'll do fine. Tyre trusts you. Which means I trust you. The hideaway would be lost without skilled physicers like yourself.
Thank you for the kind words. Truly. But... I'm sorry. I'm still terrified. The brand is more than just ink on flesh. It's a death sentence. Milk of the wyvern tail lurking just below the surface of the skin. One ill-conceived incision, a single slip, and the poison fouls the patient's blood. Failure means death, and even success means tremendous pain. Days of agony as the wound heals. I became a physiker to help people, not to kill them. I don't want to kill anyone.
Cursebreakers lead hard lives. And the operation is only the beginning. They toil in the shadows, risking life and limb, knowing their efforts will win them neither glory nor acclaim. And yet we have no shortage of volunteers. The day I decided that I would take Sid's name was the same day Tyre took my brand.
I remember. It wasn't long after we came here. What little medicine Tyre managed to salvage from the wreckage of the old place had been used up treating the wounded. She begged that your operation be delayed until a new supply of antalgics was found. Procedure was even more dangerous back then. Only a few souls had undertaken it. Doris, Cole, a handful of other cursebreakers, and those who are no longer with us. Those who lost their lives in the process. It wasn't something to be done lightly.
No. But it was something I had to do, if I was to take Sid's name. He always led from the front, and never asked anyone to take a risk for his cause that he was unwilling to take himself, even if he knew that it might cost him his life.
Hold still, Clive! Hold still!
I knew there'd be pain. That I might not survive. And I was afraid. But I also knew that if I didn't overcome that fear, that pain, then I would never be able to call myself Sid.
I didn't know.
We all want our brands removed. But it's a decision each of us must make for ourselves, on our own terms. Rodrigue, I know your work isn't easy, but neither is going under the knife. Be a shoulder for your patients to lean on. Stay strong for them.
You sound like Tyre. Do you know what she once told me? It's natural for a patient to feel like they're suffering in solitude. And it's a physicist's duty to see that they don't. Thank you for helping me remember that. I won't falter. Not again.